talk about the epidemic of chronic illness in kids and how what we do in our office plays into that. So I want to just ask you guys a question. Do you think, just based on your experience, just based on your life, and all three of you are a little different age, are children getting healthier or are they getting sicker?
They're getting sicker.
Okay. So why do you say that?
It's a pretty good, I would call it a pretty good racket. I mean, sicker the children get, sicker the more money they get.
Who's they?
The medical, the non-chiropractic medical people.
Okay.
Pretty good.
So, so you think that kids are getting, what do you think, Terry, sicker or better?
I would say they're getting sicker, but it's because they sit and play video games, and everybody teaches them to not be, athletic and runners and exercise. Exercise is something that's only required in schools, and people, after they get out of school, they can go back to living a life of a
sedentary life,
couch potato.
Okay.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about those exact things in just a minute. But let's think about this for a minute. So kids are getting sicker. We have all of this whiz-bang technology, and yet kids, their health is getting worse over time.
Yeah.
So apparently, if you think about it, all the technology, all the medical intervention, all of that is not making kids healthy. Okay? So let's just talk about what's causing some of this stuff. So according to many statistics and confirmed by teachers who've been teaching for many years, chronic non-infectious illness in kids is growing almost exponentially. So autism, diabetes, celiac. These diseases used to be rare in kids. In fact, in here, you don't even have a description. You have a definition of autism in here. It's the only place I could find it in the book. This is my neurology textbook from Chiropractic College. They don't even talk about autism in here.
There's like a sentence, and that's about it.
That's it. That's all they had.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
The word celiac certainly isn't in here.
No.
Okay? And so when I was in high school, you ever heard about that in kids? I mean, type 1 diabetes in some, yeah, but you never heard, this never happened. In fact, here it says school nurses will now relate that inhalers, nebulizers, EpiPens, psychiatric evaluations, discipline reports, Ritalin, Adderall, and Strattera are all common with 21st century kids. In the 1960s, they were rare. They're non-existent practically. Now, you look at this. Current health statistics reveal the following. 1 in 6 children will have a learning disability, developmental delay, or behavioral disability. The word learning disability is not in this book. Not even in here. 1 in 50 to 60 are diagnosed with autism. Just a one-sentence definition in here. No description, nothing else. The CDC reports that 8% of kids have attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Not even in my textbook. The ADHD or attention deficit hyperactive disorder, not even in this book. Okay? 3 to 7% children have severe mood dysregulation or bipolar. Neither one of those mentioned in this textbook. You can't find it. 1 child in every classroom has depression. That is mentioned in here, and it's defined in here. Okay? So, this book, let's see. I got this book in 1978. Okay? So we know as far as 1978, of these things, the only thing that they could talk about in here was depression. And basically just had a definition for it. It says, according to a December 2008 report in Archives of General Psychiatry, 18% of college students met the criteria for personality disorder. That isn't in here either. You will not find personality disorder mentioned in this neurology textbook where they have a chapter on psychiatric disorders. So you can see that since like the late 70s, we're in a world of hurt here.
Yes.
And so, so what are the causes of all the sick children? A properly functioning body is one that assimilates vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. Would anybody disagree with that? No. Digest food properly. Okay? Eliminates waste and toxins properly. What do you think is the root cause of these childhood health issues? Now, Terry, you got one of them right on.
I'd say
Lack of exercise.
Lack of exercise, soda pop, sugar, candy.
So diet.
Yes, diet.
Bad
What you
diet.
eat.
Yes.
Bad diet, okay?
Bad diet.
Bad diet. Okay, what else?
Over-medicated.
Oh, great answer, Jason. Yeah. Over-medication. Way over-medicated. Kids are so over-medicated, it's ridiculous. Okay? What else?
I want to say vaccines.
Yes,
Yeah.
vaccines. Way over-vaccinated, improper use of vaccines. Okay, what else?
There's a lot of young alcoholism and drug use that's interfering with
Yeah.
a lot of their functioning too.
So here's what we'll do. We'll lump that into one.
Cigarette
That says
smoking.
constant overexposure to toxicity.
Yep.
Kids are exposed to so many toxins now. So many toxins.
Oh, no.
Okay. And I'm gonna go one more, and that is our culture, our society is way too hygienic.
Yeah.
I mean, we are so germophobic, especially since the pandemic.
Virus, yeah.
And you know, we need to be exposed to bacteria and viruses in order for our immune systems to work properly. And kids are constantly washing and scrubby, you know, and you know, we didn't do that when we were little. We played in the mud.
Yes.
You know, and so
Yeah.
so those are some things. Okay, so there's one other thing, and that's this. One of the things we have to look to, we're going to look at the health of kids, is a dysregulation of the nervous system in kids to understand why they get sick. That's the last thing we need to look at. All the other things are really important, but a dysregulation of the nervous system of the body will create digestive issues. You won't be able to digest your food, absorb vitamins and minerals, even from good food. So we need to look at the nervous system is a center and initiator of healing in the body. Absolutely. Okay. Subluxations interfere with that. Now, the first subluxation that a child often experiences is birth trauma. Okay? So this is in Medscape, which is a very conservative website, medical website online, by the way. Risk factors for birth trauma include the following: infants that are too big, instrument delivery, especially forceps, breech delivery, abnormal or excessive traction during delivery, pulling on the head too hard. That happens. That causes subluxations at birth. Do you think it's normal for kids to like have chronic headaches or chronic brain fog? No, it's not. Well, a lot of that can happen from this right here. In fact, here is a kid being born C-section, right there.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes.
So, can chiropractic help kids? Let's talk about birth trauma to cervical spine and cranium can result, now this is from a journal called Orthopedic Medicine, headaches, vestibular problems, which is dizziness, auditory troubles, means speaking, visual disturbances, laryngeal disturbances, which is swallowing, talking, swallowing, secretion dysfunction, psychic disturbances. Care to realign the neck achieves excellent results with many of these dysfunctions. It's a medical journal saying that, orthopedic medicine. Can chiropractic help kids with infections? Well, we know that from a journal back in a study in 1991 that one single chiropractic adjustment causes a burst in the amount of white blood cells, neutrophils and monocytes. Okay? Now, we need more study on this. This is one study. We need more. I'll just tell you that right now. How about respiratory disease? Okay, what do they usually give for respiratory disease? Steroids or antibiotics. Okay?
Yeah.
What do antibiotics do? They sterilize your GI tract, which is your immune system, basically. So the use of manual techniques on children with respiratory diseases seems to be beneficial. Chiropractic, osteopathic medicine, and massage are the most common interventions. Here's a study, again, out of Journal of the American Osteopathic Association. This study was in 1966. That's, to me, is amazing. I mean, I was pretty young back then.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was
years
13.
Old. Okay.
So this involved 100 families, 4,600 cases of upper respiratory. And they said osteopathic manipulation was superior to antibiotics. I bet nobody has ever heard of this study. Nobody. But yet it's been around for decades. And it says if children were adjusted as soon as symptoms began, complications were less frequent. Most of the time, complications such as bronchial pneumonia or conjunctivitis could be treated with extended adjustment periods. Prophylactic use of antimicrobial drugs could cause complications to be more difficult to treat. So giving these kids antibiotics as a preventative made things worse. What does the AMA have to say about antibiotics and upper respiratory tract infections? This is out of a journal, JMA 2016. More than 250 million antibiotic prescriptions are written in the U.S. each year, most of which are for upper respiratory infections. A large proportion of these prescriptions are unnecessary. Antibiotic overuse leads to unnecessary adverse drug effects and antimicrobial resistant infections which harm patients. Also leads to things like autoimmune disease, GI disorders, all kinds of immune dysfunction, celiac, food intolerances. So how about chiropractic and epilepsy? There's a study in JMPT, again a smaller study, is that chiropractic may represent a non-pharmaceutical healthcare approach for kids with epilepsy. Here it's anecdotal evidence, which is not it's not a study, it's not a solid study, and we need a study in that. Shows that correction of the upper cervical subluxation complex up here might be beneficial to these patients. Okay? Chiropractic versus medical care. This is a real interesting study. They took 200 pediatricians and 200 chiropractors, and they sent questionnaires on the health of their kids who were under different types of care. They wanted to see which set of kids was healthiest. The chiropractic group had fewer ear infections, less tonsillitis, fewer allergies, and fewer cases of asthma. The health of the children under chiropractic care was demonstrably superior to the children who hadn't had it. Pretty interesting study. A 1999 study which compared chiropractic and pharmaceuticals in the treatment of colic showed that chiropractic care was superior to the drugs. I've treated kids with colic very successfully. You can help those kids a lot. Heidi Havoc, who's done a lot of research, she has a PhD in human neuroscience. She published a lot of studies. She says chiropractic care has been proven to modulate sensomotor integration. In other words, this is about coordination. It's about kids being able to perceive their environment and react to it. Chiropractic care helps that. Many studies show that chiropractic care can help children with bedwetting. B vitamins can also be helpful. So I've helped some kids with this. Sometimes it takes time. It's not one adjustment and they're all great. Sometimes it takes time to fix those people. In the Journal of Manual Medicine, there's a case study that describes abrupt improvement in mental and motor deficits in a 14-year-old girl after the initiation of an upper cervical chiropractic care, again, which is up here, where the spinal cord comes out of the brain and into the neural canal. Chiropractic and athletics. This shows that chiropractic care helps kids with athletic performance. Now, we have some really good studies on this. Some more recent studies that have been published in the last couple of years on this, where they took athletes and they looked at the primary things that make an athlete good, like vertical jump, speed, hand-eye coordination, and they showed that chiropractic care helps every single one of those. How about tonsillitis? There's a study that showed that kids adjusted with tonsillitis can get help. In 1975, the Journal of Trauma reported that trauma to the cervical spine is a cause of chronic headaches. Children get spinal trauma through minor falls, auto accidents, and sports. What fixes the cervical spine? Chiropractic. Drugs don't do it. So again, this is this study's been around quite a while. Children, this is in clinical. This is a journal of neurosurgery, pediatric neurosurgery. Children and adolescents may be more vulnerable to prolonged recovery from concussions than adults. A particularly vulnerable time for developing persistent symptoms after a concussion is when you're a teenager. Girls may carry a higher risk than boys. So what is the solution to that? Mild traumatic brain injury can be helped with chiropractic, low-level laser, and specific nutritional formulas. And we have evidence to show that. A study which came out in 2017 showed that unless the cervical spine is corrected with specific manipulation, brain injury may be long-term. So when it comes to childhood sports injuries, who do you think most of those kids see when they get injured in sports?
Their coach?
They see a physician.
Yeah.
They get drugs.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, the best doctor is the one inside of you. Chiropractic adjusts, you heal yourself. So this ended up being a little shorter tonight than what I normally, my talks normally are. Do you guys have any questions? Everything's clear as mud, huh? Yeah.
I wish this information was around 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I've had one son was a bedwetter. His twin brother wasn't. But one son was. And we eventually got through it. But we wondered about it, and nobody really could say, just got to wait till he gets through it. Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
He's going to stop doing it. So we quit giving him water after 6 o'clock at night. Supper time was earlier. And I had another son that had asthma. I had another son that was in a car wreck. Somebody pulled out in front of me and I slammed on the brakes, but that was back in the day when we didn't have seatbelt rules. And
Or
he
car
hit
seats or
he
anything.
hit his head on the dash of the car
and probably hurt himself.
and had a few headaches after
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So I just wish, we would have known that, and chiropractic care could have been assisted to help all of them through whatever. That wasn't the only thing that happened, but I mean, kids are like that.
Yeah.
And,
And now this information is out there, and that's why I do these talks. I just wish more people
would
were
show
here.
up. Yeah.
We have some online though, I guess, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. The moral of the story tonight is chiropractic helps kids. Now there's other things that will help kids: diet, letting them play in the dirt, not giving them not giving them all the drugs, but chiropractic is a big factor in kids' health care, and they respond well to it. And if you look at the families in my office that bring their kids in regularly for care, their kids are healthier, and they'll tell you that. They'll tell you that their kids are a lot healthier.
I have a question now. These people that come out of the medical school of DOs, doctors of osteopath, they are now, this is what I've been told, they are doctors, but they have the holistic approach, not the medical school approach, but the holistic. They got to learn all about the muscles and the arteries and the veins, and all the organs and what they do. They got to learn, and they can write prescriptions. They are very good with OBGYN.
Yeah, they're
And
some of
do
them are
cesareans.
holistic, some of them aren't.
Okay.
It depends on which one. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. Some of them are all in medicine. Some of them are a lot more holistic.
Some of them are on their own.
Yeah, it depends. So that's right. Good. Well, that's all I have tonight. Thank you so much for showing up and being here. And in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about Alzheimer's and dementia and what the science says about that. So hope to see you here then.